Crazy Eye. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Speaking of Crazy Eyes, I actually need to put my glasses on. It's getting close to that time where I've worn my contacts just a little longer. I've stretched their date a little bit longer than I should be, and yet here we are. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are seeing well. Today we are listening to Poco. We're going to listen to this track, Crazy Eyes. This is the title track of their 5th studio album, released in 1973. Why are we listening to this? Because some of you had suggested and mentioned this band and this particular track, such as Betsy, YR, David Lane, and Bob Holtzman. So thank you guys so much for the recommendation. Never heard of the band Poco, and I do hope that I'm pronouncing their name correctly. Poco, I can only imagine is the way to pronounce it, but it could be Poco or Poco. I've never heard of this band, but we're going to give this a listen. I saw that it had also been recommended because it was one of their longer tracks, coming in at near 10 minutes, which naturally I just kind of lean myself towards longer songs. I like to see what a band does in those longer spans of time, and this is no different. So thank you guys for the recommendation. Let's go ahead and listen to it. We'll discuss it a little bit after. Here we go.
About your love.
Sounds like Neil Young a little bit.
Who's been fooling who? Crazy eyes, I've been a fooling you. You sing you do.
Like how those orchestral elements started and then have reoccurred here at the beginning. Little swing. Banjo's good for the soul.
Down among the South Carolina pines, you spent most of your life climbing deep.
This has Appalachian epic all over it.
don't you forget
This is a really kind of cool, kind of folk styled epic.
how I'm used to seeing your face in the crowd. You thought you saw me. Crazy eyes, you're blind as you can be.
This is a really, like, cool track. Changes come about and you find the time you spent wasn't quite the reason for being I love the guitar call and the orchestral hits with it. don't you forget how. Hit it.
'Cause I'm used to seeing your face in the crowds. You thought you saw me.
Every time it comes in, it's like a hammer.
Crazy eyes, you're blind as you can be.
not only was that absolutely excellent, I am surprised I haven't heard more about this band or seen them recommended. Is there a reason? Not coming down on. I'm just asking. Was there a reason I haven't seen the name of the band? Maybe you guys have suggested. Maybe it's me. I've just not seen it. This was a really awesome track. This was a cool blending of like country folk and the orchestral music, making it very progressive. It's very catchy, not only in its motifs, but the actual singing as well. There's not really so much of a chorus, but it's just the melodies are just so instantly satisfying that it just gets stuck in your head. Whether that is the ba 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 ba, like they're just very like adventurous in the way that it plays. This is a track that takes you on a journey, even whether you're listening to the lyrics or not. The music is taking you on a journey. It takes you out west if you're hearing kind of the same things that I'm hearing. I love the orchestral elements, the timpani opening up, and how those drums kind of continue forth, not only from the big, grand, and epic in the orchestral like that timpani, but then bringing it into something just a little bit more conventional with the actual drum set, and how those two, just talking about the percussion, work very well in tandem together and kind of trotting you along and occasionally galloping you throughout these 9 minutes. Once again, the symphony arrangements are really well done. I want to say that that's probably going to be handled by producer Jack Richardson, but don't quote me because I don't have anyone necessarily credited as I'm looking on the Wikipedia page with the actual orchestral elements, although I'm sure if I looked deeper into it, we could find that. But regardless, those are really wonderful in how they added to the music. For example, there's a couple moments that does reoccur. I wish I was looking at the time when it happened so I could pull it up directly, but it's kind of like the storminess of the music is kind of growing in the back. And you have this back and forth that's growing. And that's also when the guitar comes in with a nice kind of heavy and yet humble distortion. Now you have 3 guitarists in here, Paul Cotton, Richard Furay, who's also handling vocals, and then Rusty Young, who's also handling the banjo, which we heard in there, which was a surprising but nonetheless lovely choice. The banjo playing was fiery. It was inspired, and it felt good within the mix of the assortment of instruments that we were already hearing. So it's like, why not throw an extra thing in? Oh yeah, and it sounds great, and it makes sense within the music. So Young's playing on that banjo was really, really wonderful, not only from the first time it appears, but the second time in which it's given a little bit more breath to kind of dally around in there. I wish I could find who was handling some of that orchestration, though. You do have Bob Ezrin also here on piano. Obviously, we've heard him work with many people. And it's just a really cool track in how it all goes. But I wish I could find that moment where it's kind of like, to me, it's a brewing thunderstorm of distorted guitar. You hear it in the distance, kind of looming and slowly making its way forward. And then the orchestral hits happening at the same time. And back and forth, they start at a certain space, but they begin to back and forth come a little closer before they collide and kind of erupt into the next section. And that happens several times throughout the music. I wish I had looked when it was happening so I could say. I think it might have been right before that. No, I wish I could find it, but I can't. But it's just one of those really cool climactic moments that happens a couple times throughout the track that just really erupts. And there's a lot of those in here. I mean, the singing is catchy. I don't know, I said catchily. I said that was Mr. Furay on the vocals here. It goes through many different movements, and yet it all makes sense. It works seamless. It's streamlined. I think it's just an excellent track. And once again, there's not a lot of lyrics here to look at either. I got a feeling about you. Love who's fooling who. Crazy eyes. I been a fool in you. So who's the fool? Is it both of us? Maybe. Everybody plays the fool. Everybody plays. All right, you don't know that song. You sing songs about brass buttons and shiny silver shoes. Crazy eyes, what had you to lose? Down among the South Carolina pines, you spent most of your lifetime in deep thought. Then changes come about, and you find the time you spent wasn't quite reason for being bought. So now to be or not is to be. Hold on. So now to be or not to be is the question. Now, crazy eyes, don't you forget how I'm used to seeing your face in the crowd, and you thought you saw me. Crazy eyes, blind as can be. Interesting. Obviously, I would say that this is a relationship of sorts gone awry. I do like the crazy eyes, blind as you can be. I do like how that's related there. I also kind of like this twist, I've been fooling you. So they think that they have one up on him, but he's like, nah, I got one up on you. This is interesting. This is where we get some backstory. You spent most of your lifetime in deep thought, then changes come about, and you find this time you spent wasn't quite the reason for being bought. Like you were perhaps naive, and then as changes came, as time went on and experiences were had and lessons were learned, maybe you understood that you didn't quite understand things as you thought maybe you did, or maybe as you thought you perceived. That's how I kind of read that a little bit. Looking at this, it says, of course, this was the band's final album. Is there any information on this track in particular? The title track, here you go, was written by Richie Furay and Graham Parsons in '69 when he was playing the Flying Burrito Brothers, which is a very fun and tasty name. According to Furay, he and Parsons had lived across the street from each other in Greenwich Village. He gave himself credit for the iconic 9-minute recording of the song to Jack Richardson and Bob Ezrin, who did there you go. They did the orchestration. Got it. He says, I just had a little folk song, and the next thing I knew, wow, it was a whole production that stayed true to the original intent of the song. And that's a really wonderful point. If you think about an artist handing over a piece of their work, a piece of their art, and they hand it to someone, in this case, Ezrin and Richardson, and say, like, work your magic, for lack of a better word, and they hand it back to you, you're scared, right? You're frightened of like, okay, what did they change? Did they change the heart of what I meant? Did they kind of not understand the intent of what I was going for? Obviously, he was very happy with what he said, as in, yes, they added to the production of it, they added to it, and they had that special touch, as that's why they're known, and their names are known, at least Ezrin to me. But it still stayed true to the original message and spirit of the song that they had written, which is a really lovely thing to kind of have and to read. Let me know what you guys thought of this excellent track, of course, in the comments down below. The Buy Me a Coffee is here if you'd like to sponsor a song request, or you can just hop in line. That is no problem at all, just like Bob Holtzman, David Lane, and Betsy did. You can support in other places as well. Thank you as always for being here. Come back tomorrow, and I will see you all then.